There is a door we all come to, one that protects the facts and truths that hold our reality together from that which floats beyond reason and sanity. Once we walk through that door, nothing is ever the same. We can become lost in the abyss of man's imagination, wandering down the long hall into the kind of madness that is dangerously pervasive, infected with a delirium most foul and contagious until we are all unable to navigate our way back to what is real. It is here where we find absurd conspiracies. They stand as monuments to the past. There is nothing that can instill a sense of awe in a person like standing at the Giza Plateau and trying to take in the sight of the Great Pyramids. They have stood through the ages and been a wonder of the world for millennia. The common explanation for these inexplicable buildings is that they are tombs built for the king gods known as pharaohs 4,000 years ago. Yet these so-called tombs have never housed a casket, and no human remains have ever been found inside any of the three massive structures or the three smaller ones that grace the Giza plain. This fact alone has made these buildings the stuff of many myths, legends, and theories. In recent years, a new concept for these buildings have come from a researcher in Melbourne, Florida. Kyle von Hamptonberger, a relative of the founder of the Hampton Institute for Advanced Theorem and a Disney annual pass holder, and others have come to believe that these buildings cannot be explained because we do not see them in the context in which they were constructed.
Well, my research has shown that these buildings were just part of a much larger complex of structures, buildings, and grounds, and that this area in general was not used as a city or a residence of any kind, but in fact, it was a place where people only visit for the day.
Followers of von Hamptonberg's theory say that if people were to come here to Earth in 10,000 years and found things like the St. Louis Arch or the roller coasters at Universal or the buildings at Disney, they would be unable to understand their use.
Imagine finding the remains of Tomorrowland or Adventureland at Disney in the year 12,025. You would have no frame of reference. Whatever was left would be impossible to understand. To you, the person from the future, these things would seem to defy a practical purpose. Even the castle would seem to be of use until you saw it had no interior rooms that were like a normal residence or any other castle in the world, that most of the insides are not just empty, but you cannot even find a way inside at all. In fact, the castle is Disney's version of a Great Pyramid.
This comparison to the castle at Disney is the basis of the theory. Believers say that the size of the Cinderella's castle and that it has only a small amount of area inside of use makes it a good allegory for the Giza site and its buildings.
Yeah, I can see it. I bet they had all kinds of rides and shows that we can't even imagine, man. Like Ra's Wild Ride or Horace's Monorail, displays of Future World or Underworld, a ride to Orion and the afterlife. Maybe they had like year-long passes that cost as much as owning a Lexus and you still have to wait in line and eat bad vendor food. Since it was the desert, I bet their bottled water was a fortune.
As to where the rest of the park might have gone, von Hamptonberg points to recycling. The repurposed stones and material were taken after the park closed to help build the small city of the day that would become the Mecca we know as Cairo. And perhaps some of the first buildings might be able to prove his theory. He has proposed that even ticket booths and pushcarts might still be there inside the walls of early Cairo structures, and has asked the Egyptian government to give him access to these walls and foundations. At this time, von Hamptonberg has been denied a permit to pull blocks and wood out of 2,000-year-old historic buildings in Cairo that are national landmarks. He's also been denied a visa for travel to Egypt at this time. With so many questions unanswered about the pyramids and the ridiculously strict nature of the Department of Antiquities of Egypt, there is a possibility that the question of the Giza World Theme Park will never be answered, and that this theory will be much like a ride that no one will ever be able to board.